Hello, apparently we're live.
I've almost forgotten what to do.
Almost. We can still talk though, so we'll keep talking. If you've been hanging on there waiting for the next episode of our story, I'm very sorry to keep you waiting so long. Is it 6 months, Arnold, did we say? I think 6 months.
It's about that.
You've still been generating the poems. And a few. I think there's 8 poems since our last story. But you've also done private ones for people as well.
Thank you very much again for those of you who watch. It really encourages us both.
Yeah.
Especially me.
Yeah, obviously, understandably. And we've got 146 subscribers now, which we're very grateful for. Brilliant. So let's keep cracking on with today's episode, or we're going to be here all day again. And we keep saying we're going to be shorter and shorter. So
we'll
try not to waffle. Because, each of us has a story. It's not just us. And we keep saying this, you have a story. And we love hearing people's stories. Yeah. And
stories are powerful.
Yeah. So it was a quote that I came across yesterday. I'll just read out here. Every morning, start a new page in your story and make it a great one. Yay! If that's not a positive outlook on your day, what is?
I hope yours is a great one.
Yeah. And especially Liverpool's. Anybody support Liverpool?
Sorry, Man City. Well, we'll see what happens.
Sorry, not funny. Is it Man City or Chelsea they're playing today?
Oh, Chelsea, sorry. It is Chelsea.
Who's the football fan here? Well, it is Liverpool. I only follow them because my brother followed Man United when we were growing up together, and I wasn't going to do the same as him. No, Philip, we don't do things the same. We're both very different in many ways, aren't we, Philip? Anyway, on we go. So I think the last one we did random recall on 2 healing stories, miraculous healing stories, which were amazing. Then we did a reflections on the summer. And but the last bit about our story was, about our schools work.
Oh, yeah, the road shows.
The road shows with children in schools, but 25 different primary schools in the area. So that was great fun time. But today we're going to move on to talk more about our work with adults, teenagers, and children, all ages, what they could do together. And so here we are. As usual, Arnold has been able to capture it in poetic form. And so we will move on.
So cast your mind back a long way. 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Okay.
Keeping in step. For more than a decade, we had MFJ, which stands for March for Jesus, of course. From the late 1980s till 2000, it thrived, and with God's help, was a wonderful good force. Worldwide good force.
Get your words right, Arnold. Who wrote this poem?
Pam and I had the privilege of being involved as coordinators here in Preston, UK. That was for Lancashire. And the carnival feel of each colourful march surely blew some church cobwebs away.
Absolutely.
There may be some of you who remember that. In 92, we joined in the Preston Guild. Guild marches were held every 20th year. For centuries, guild merchants would proudly parade. Then churches were allowed to appear. What a privilege then to add colour and life to the church's traditional parade, with bright banners proclaiming Jesus as Lord and King of the world he had made.
They certainly were bright banners, weren't there? And we had those massive, massive big yellow silk flags. And I think that really captured the audience, because they had like grandstands up the streets. It really was a huge event.
It was a big event, yeah.
How many?
Thousands of people. Actually, people came from all over the world. Prestonians or former Prestonians to see it.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And we did get sort of middle page, didn't we?
We did.
In the local newspaper, because it was so colourful, all these big flags really and banners. It was amazing.
But, I wasn't sitting sewing all those flags myself. And we weren't making placards and doing paintings and things. We had a throne. We did our bit. coordinating it all, and also with some of the visual stuff. We had a throne that we carried, some carried, and we had reserved for King Jesus on it. And then we had ribbons coming out from the throne, one for each continent, and children dressed in the costume of that continent. And then we had lots of different paintings all along depicting the life of Jesus all along as well. It was an amazing time.
A lot of work that a lot of people, a lot of friends put in, and we're grateful to them. Obviously, we helped, but it wasn't just us.
And we had it was a guy leading to backing tracks. He led the singing as we went along. So we're singing away. We loved it. We've still got some great photographs, but none electronically, and we weren't going to bother faffing around with that. So that was a great time, wasn't it? Great memories. Everybody did their part, seriously. Yeah, amazing.
As well as these marches, we arranged prayer walks, encouraging walkers right across Lancashire, with teams covering north, south, east, and west. Our prayers helped many others inspire. Graham Kendrick, our greatest writer of hymns, inspired MFJ with his wonderful songs. Each brought hope and joy right onto our streets, helping Christians to feel they belonged. Songs like Shine, Jesus, Shine are still sung today. Wherever in the world you might go, its lyrics sum up what MFJ is all about, the Jesus we love and want you to know. Excuse me. Keep going. If I can find my place.
Do you want me to read out the next verse? No. There you go.
Christmas 97, we were in Preston Guildhall with Graham and his wonderful team. Rumours of angels drew many hundreds at night, and we had the honour of hosting them.
That really was an honour, wasn't it? I mean, Graham, Kendrick, and the band were all very gifted musicians, but their humility really stood out. They were just ordinary people. Yeah. And we had a choir that was drawn from local places, local churches to Preston, and somebody came along and, well, we had somebody that trained the choir. And anyway, so we had a choir as well as Graham's backing sinners.
Singers.
Yeah,
they
we're all
sinners.
His backing singers. It was
Sorry,
a powerful
Graham.
night. Yes, gifted musicians, humble, lovely, lovely people. So it was an honour to host them all. There were some repercussions from that night. We needed to hold like a collection during it to help provide the money that was needed for hiring the Guildhall and paying everybody who needed paid for that event. And so I had an idea for each of the stewards to wear Santa hats. It was coming up to Christmas, wasn't it? But there were two stewards in particular that I wanted to meet. One of them was Marvin, and the other was our Julie. Marvin's mum, Rose, had an inkling that Julie might be his type of girl. And I had an inkling that he might be Julie's type of man. Now, they hadn't met because Julie was away doing her year out with YFC, but she was coming home for Christmas. Oh, I wonder would she be a steward?
How devious.
I wonder would Marv help us out or not. So they were two of the stewards, but we had to call the stewards out to the front so that everybody would see what stewards looked like with Santa hats. Any excuse to make sure amongst the 2,000 people that Marv and Julie clocked eyes. And then, of course, we left it to them. Us mums stepped back and just left it to them. Well, within 2.5 years, they were married. Oh. And since then, they have provided us with 3 gorgeous granddaughters who are full of fun and very entertaining. They either make us old or they keep us young. I don't know which. They're great
Mostly
fun.
The latter.
Yeah, great fun. So I think that's that. That was just like a spin-off. You think about these one events and then that spin-off.
There are always repercussions, aren't there?
Yep. And we are delighted that our Julie chose Marv.
Yeah, we are. That was a night when Julie met Marv, and their journey together began. They knew then they were made for each other. Perhaps angels played a part in God's plan. Another adventure we found ourselves in was Noel Richards' Champion of the World. We had hired Preston's Charter Theatre, where 800 their banners unfurled. That song inspired one of our road shows. Champion of the World toured our schools that year. It was our privilege to host Noel and his band, and those memories we will always hold dear.
Another band of gifted, talented musicians. Again, their humility stood out. And we've kept contact with some of these musicians, actually. Dave Lyle Morris, who stood out from Graham's band.
Yeah, he's
recently
a lovely guy.
Been in touch with him.
He just stood out as a lovely guy.
He really did. And it's interesting, isn't it, when you just feel that kind of connection with certain individuals, as well as Graham, obviously, and others in his band, Stephen Val.
Yeah.
But Dave Lyle Morris, recently been in contact with him, and he's back in his home country of New Zealand. With his wife, and has recently become a granddad. We're all getting old.
Our greetings to you.
Yes, absolutely.
If you ever see this.
Well, I'll make sure he sees it. I'll send him the link. No. So with Noel's band, then again, people stood out, and we've made memories with them. So, but there's something about Champion of the World sparked something with Noel and his very good friend Gerald Coates. Had this dream of filling a stadium with people singing praise and worshipping God using different bands. It wasn't just going to be Noel. It wasn't about him and his band. It was, just really providing this place for so many people to come together from all over the country into a stadium. Well, they chose Wembley Stadium, of course, because you just go big, don't you? Their faith was phenomenal. If I could just mention Gerald. Gerald recently went to heaven, but what a legacy he has left behind, because Gerald pioneered a network of churches. Oh, it's influencing so many other people's lives as well. But the churches to be that wee bit different, different expressions of being church, diverse expressions of being church. And there was a phrase that you reminded me of today, Arnold.
Making people feel that they belong even before they believe, which is absolutely spot on. And
the Pioneer Network was and still is very strong on relationships. So we were privileged to be a part of that network. Yeah. So Gerald and Noel, they had this dream to fill a stadium. So they took the massive leap of faith and booked Wembley. Well, we caught that vision, and we hired a bus, just coordinated it all again to facilitate people around in the churches in Preston to go down to Wembley for this event. And the whole way down the motorway on the bus, it lashed it down with rain. I thought, no, this is an open air event. And so we grabbed the microphone on the bus and started praying for the weather. And, when we got to Wembley, there was like a window in the clouds. It was absolutely amazing. There was no rain fell on the stadium that day, but there was rain all around it. You could see it. It was amazing. And what a privilege to be part of a miraculous happening like that alone, never mind the event itself.
Yeah, it was an amazing event.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
So well done, Noel.
Yeah. Okay.
That night was a taster for Wembley, for stadium praise was Noel's dream, not to promote himself or his music, but for the champion of the world to be seen. Soon thousands were gathering in Wembley, and a miracle happened that day. While rain fell on most of London, over Wembley, clouds had melted away. What a day that was.
Wasn't it? And just recently, we had the privilege of meeting up with Noel and Tricia in Mallorca, where they now live. And they were telling us about this again, another repercussion from one of these big events. They were telling us about a guy in Hungary who caught the vision for this, that he wanted to fill a stadium, again, with different bands, different styles of music, just with people just worshiping, praising God in the stadium. And so this guy has taken a big step of faith, booked the bands. Noel and his band are going over. Many other musicians. If you want to know more about it, go to Noel Richards' website, noelrichards.com.
It's going to happen
I
in
think
July.
it is. I meant to check that out.
There's been a few hiccups, haven't there, over the years?
Yeah.
But finally, we're praying
It's
that
happening.
it will happen this
25
July.
years later in Budapest.
Budapest, Hungary.
Yep, this July. That's coming up. So if you pray, I'm sure all would appreciate prayer for that event. So that's that. You see again, Arnold? These one-off events that people say, oh, it's just a one-off event. Sorry, no.
Wow.
There's if God's behind it, if God's in a thing, there's always spin-offs.
Yeah.
And with that little thought, we'll end our story.
Thank you for watching.
Yay.
And for your patience.
Lovely to chat to you again.
Yeah. God bless you.
Hopefully we'll not leave it as long the next time. Okay. Bye for now.